It was a Monday morning, the kind of morning that decides a man's future. The sky was calm, but inside Arjun's heart, a storm was raging. He was holding his file, full of certificates, marked sheets, and dreams, but his hands were trembling, because today was his one-chance interview. Arjun had been waiting for this opportunity for months. A big multinational company had finally shortlisted him. He wasn't from a famous city or a rich background. He came from a small town where English was like another planet. But this interview, this was his ticket to a new life. He had worked hard for it. He knew everything about computers, about technology, about problem solving. But there was one problem he could never solve: his English. He still remembered the last time he gave an interview. He had all the answers in his mind. But when the interviewer asked, "Tell me about yourself," his throat went dry. His mind knew the English sentences, but his tongue refused to move. Words got stuck, voice trembled, and confidence vanished. That day, he came home broken. He didn't talk to anyone. He looked in the mirror and whispered, "Why can't I speak? Why does English scare me so much?" His father sat beside him quietly and said, "Beta, knowledge is not enough if you can't express it. You have to speak, not for others, but for yourself." Those words hit Arjun like lightning. From that day, he decided he would no longer run away from English. He would face it word by word, fear by fear. At first, he started small. He began reading one page of an English newspaper every morning, even if he didn't understand it. He downloaded English podcasts and listened to them while working. He spoke with himself in front of the mirror. Not perfect sentences, but broken ones. He would say, "Good morning, Arjun. How are you?" And then answer, "I am fine, Arjun. I will speak better tomorrow." Days turned into weeks. People laughed at him when he made mistakes, but he smiled back. He knew mistakes were proof that he was trying. One day, he met a girl named Mira at the bus stop. She was fluent in English, confident, and worked at a big company. She saw him holding an English book and said, "You like English?" Arjun smiled awkwardly. I try learning." Mira laughed softly and said, "Everyone tries. Only a few continue." Those words became his new motivation. He began practicing English every single day with discipline. He would record his voice, listen, and correct his pronunciation. He learned one new word daily and used it in a sentence. He didn't memorize grammar. He learned by using the language. And slowly, something magical started happening. English stopped being a subject. It became a part of his life. He started thinking in English, writing his thoughts in English, and even dreaming in English sometimes. He wasn't perfect, but he was improving. He was becoming fluent, not only in English, but in confidence. Then came the day the same company announced new interviews. Arjun applied again, and this time, when the email said, "You were shortlisted," he smiled, not with fear, but with faith. He reached the office. Everything looked polished: glass doors, bright lights, people talking fluently in English. The old Arjun would have felt small here. But not today. Today, he walked in like he belonged there. When his turn came, he entered the room. 3 interviewers sat across the table. One of them asked, "So, Mr. Arjun, Tell me about yourself. For a second, that familiar fear tried to return. His heartbeat quickened, but he took a deep breath. And then he spoke. My name is Arjun Sharma. I come from a small town, and I'm passionate about technology. In my journey, I have learned not only about computers, but also about communication. Because I believe knowledge without expression has no impact. The interviewers looked impressed. He continued with calmness and clarity. He spoke about his projects, his goals, and his failures, all in simple, confident English. When he finished, the interviewer smiled and said, "Impressive, Mr. Arjun. You speak very well." And Arjun smiled, not because of the compliment, but because he knew how far he had come. That day, he didn't just pass the interview. He passed a phase of his life, the phase of fear, hesitation, and self-doubt. 2 weeks later, he received a call. "Congratulations, Arjun. You've been selected." He didn't say anything for a few seconds. Tears rolled down his face. He looked at the same mirror where he once asked, "Why can't I speak?" And this time he whispered, "I did it." From that day, Arjun made a promise that he would help others who struggle with English. He started a small YouTube channel where he shared his journey, teaching others how to learn English through practice, positivity, and patience. He told them, "You don't need perfect grammar. You need courage. Start small, speak daily, think in English, and never give up. Because English is not a language of the rich, it's the language of the ready." The video went viral. Thousands of people from small towns started following his channel. They called him the boy who spoke his dreams into reality. And every time someone messaged him saying, "Arjun Bhai, I gave my first interview in English," he smiled and replied, "Remember, it's not about English only. It's about believing that you can learn anything." Today, Arjun stands as a symbol, not of perfect English, but of unstoppable effort. His story proves one thing. You don't fail when you make mistakes. You fail only when you stop trying. So if you're watching this video, sitting there thinking, "I wish I could speak English fluently," then remember Arjun's journey. Start today. Speak, even if it's broken. Learn, even if it's slow, because one day your broken English will become your most powerful story.